Next up, let's tackle the basics of soil texture. So, what's soil texture all about? It's pretty simple. It's the mix of different-sized mineral particles in your soil. We're talking about how much sand, silt, and clay you've got in there. Each one's got its own vibe, and they're sized up like this. First, there's sand, the big kahuna of particles, ranging from 0.05 to 2 millimeters. Rub it between your fingers and it feels gritty. Then you've got silt, the middle child, sitting between 0.02 and 0.05 millimeters. It's smooth, almost floury when dry, but gets silky or slippery when wet. And finally, clay, the tiniest of the bunch, less than 0.02 millimeters. This stuff's sticky when wet and turns into hard clumps when it dries out. So, why does this matter? Soil texture is a big deal. It's like the personality of your soil, and it affects everything. First off, water holding capacity. Clay soils? They cling to water, sometimes too much. Sandy soils. Water runs right through them like a sieve. Silt somewhere in between, holding a decent amount. Then there's drainage and aeration. Sand's great at letting water and air move through. Clay can get soggy and suffocate roots. Silt's a middle ground again. Nutrient retention's another one. Clay's got a huge surface area and a charge that grabs nutrients and holds them tight. Sand barely holds any. Silt's moderate. Workability, or how easy it is to dig into, also ties back to texture. Sandy soils are a breeze to work with. Clay? It's a beast, rock hard when dry, sticky and heavy when wet. And erosion? Fine stuff like silt and clay can get washed or blown away easier than chunky sand. Now let's talk textural classes, the names we give soils based on their sand-silt-clay mix. You've got the sandy crew, like sand, or loamy sand, where sand's running the show. Then the clay gang, like clay, sandy clay, or silty clay, where clay's in charge. The silt squad, like silt or silt loam, leans heavy on silt. And then there's the loams, the Goldilocks of soils. Loams have a nice balance of sand, silt and clay, pulling the best from each. Think loam, sandy loam, clay loam, or silty clay loam. Just so we're clear, loam isn't a particle. It's what we call that sweet spot mixture plants love. So, that's soil texture in a nutshell. Gritty, silky, sticky, and everything in between. It's the starting point for figuring out how your soil's going to behave, especially when water's involved. On the right of your screen, you will see a commonly used soil classification chart called a soil texture triangle. It has 3 sides, each representing one of the 3 components of soil structure. Later in this module, I will show you how to use this to easily classify your soil samples. Ready to see how this plays into irrigation? Let's keep going.